that reduced and reversed their intellect 100%. We're talking about the 85% among the so-called American Negroes, and for that matter, black people worldwide. We must rise up out of the self-sabotage programming that has been embedded within our subconscious mind, right? If we look at this here, we can readily identify that 85% of what we're living out in a day-to-day basis, this self-sabotage, this inability to organize and galvanize the numbers, right? Because in numbers, there's strength. In numbers, there's power. Therefore, 85% of our life, we are building power for the 10%, the rich, slave makers, and blood suckers of the poor, the brain drainers of the poor. The 85% of their mental powers is being drained for the embetterment of the 10%. We can look now that even if we examine in Japan is suffering a brain drain at the moment. Well, haven't black folks been suffering a brain drain for well over 400 years? All of our inventors, all of our intellectual promises and potentials and actions that we actually manifested here within the corporation of the United States has been drained to benefit the 10%, the small population that's governing over us. Remember, we separated the 19 letters from the last 7 letters out of the 26 letters. Have you been programmed? Have your subconscious mind been programmed to a point that 85% of your day you're building power for the 10%? You will not listen to the 5% population who get it, who have traced back the pseudo information to a group of ascended masters, the I Am movement, right? The Aquarian gospel guys, right? When I put the video down below, right? In the last video, part 4, if you watch that video, you were brought to the realization that some of the things that the 85% is believing in has been programmed and edited dictation. Because remember, we talked about that number 180, right? When we subtracted 17 from 197, right? We got 180. That edited dictation, the dogma of religion. Religion is a trap. It is a cage to control, right, the potential of human development by those who seek to what? Put a program in our mind of self-sabotage. You're guilty. You're sinful. You are in need of salvation. All of these mental tactics were used to reduce and reverse, right, the mind into a cage, right? A cage that is in the mind. It's like a glass ceiling. Or it's like an animal that has been breeded, right? That has been shaped to obey a master. The animal is tied to a rope. The rope is kept on the animal's neck for a limited time or for a certain time, right? Until it breaks the willpower of the animal. Now, the chain can be taken off of the animal or off of the mind, and it will stay within, right, the cage, the perimeter of the thinking, because 85% of the thinking will be used by its masters, the 10%. The 10% is the makers and the writers of the program of the 85%. They are easily led in the wrong direction, hard to lead in the right. They take everything that the 10% say on face value, right? They're enjoying their cage, right? Their cage of ignorance, their cage of backward thinking, right? There's no way in the world that a group of people numbering between 35 to 50 million people could possibly be ruled by this small percentage of people if they were writing their own program, if they were controlling the subconscious thinking. They would have written a program, right, that would have altered, right, the balance of power. The balance of power has to start with a thought. The balance of power has to start in the mind. As soon as you uncage your mind, right, from the rule of the 10%, right, you will gain a control over your mental powers. Thus, you will gain control over your destiny, because your cell, right, your genes, your cell, the dogma of medicine taught you that your genes control your destiny. The cage does not control your destiny. As soon as you change the program deep embedded within your subconscious mind, you can rewrite a blueprint of success. This is another New Black World Order TV Productions. Chopper.